Close your eyes for a moment and listen, not with your ears, but with the place inside you that knows when something in life must change. You already have more strength than you realize. Every challenge you've faced, every disappointment you've recovered from, every difficult moment you've endured has been shaping a deeper resilience inside you, one you rarely give yourself credit for. Strength isn't something you acquire suddenly, it's something that grows quietly with every step you take, even the steps you thought were insignificant. Most people underestimate their own power because they're too close to their own story. They remember their fears more clearly than their victories. They remember the nights they felt weak more vividly than the mornings they rose again. But rising again is strength. Moving forward is strength. Continuing when everything in you wanted to quit is strength. You have already demonstrated a power that many people wish they had. Think back to the moments you thought you couldn't continue. The moment when your heart was breaking, when uncertainty felt overwhelming, when life was heavier than you believed you could carry. Yet here you are. That isn't an accident. That isn't coincidence. That is strength. It may not have felt heroic at the time, but strength rarely feels like victory in the moment. It often feels like survival, persistence, grit, or simply taking the next breath. You didn't crumble. You didn't stay down. You didn't surrender your spirit. You kept going, even when the path was unclear. That persistence shows a strength far greater than anything you give yourself credit for. Most people look at their lives and see the moments they felt weak, but they forget that the only reason they are still here is because something inside them refused to quit. Strength isn't loud. It doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, just one more step, and you take it without realizing how powerful that step is. When life demanded more of you than you thought you had, you found more. When life pushed you to your limits, you discovered new ones. When you were surrounded by doubt, you still chose to move forward. That is strength in its purest form. You don't need to wish for strength. You need to recognize the strength you've already shown. It's been woven into your character through every challenge you've weathered. It's been built through every experience that tried to break you but shaped you instead. Inside you is a well of resilience waiting to be acknowledged, honored, and used. Strength is not something missing in your life. It's something you've been carrying all along, even in the moments you felt the weakest. Peace exists inside you waiting to be unlocked. It is not a distant destination, not a treasure hidden somewhere out in the world, not a reward you receive only when everything in life becomes perfect. Peace is already within you, silently waiting beneath the noise, beneath the pressure, beneath the expectations you feel every day. Most people go searching for peace as if it were something external, another achievement, another relationship, another accomplishment, another moment when everything finally settles. But peace doesn't come from the outside. It comes from the alignment of your inner world, from the way you choose to interpret your circumstances, from the space you create between you and the chaos surrounding you. You've experienced glimpses of this peace before, even if you didn't recognize it at the time. It's the moment you take a deep breath after a long day and feel a spark of calm. It's the moment when you stop fighting against everything you cannot control and simply allow life to be what it is. It's the moment when your mind lets go of the pressure to figure out every detail of the future. Those tiny moments are evidence that peace isn't something you must chase. It's something you can access even in the middle of uncertainty. Peace doesn't require a perfect life. It requires presence. It requires awareness. It requires the courage to stop running long enough to listen to what's happening within you. The reason peace feels distant is because life is loud. Thoughts race. Worries pile up. Responsibilities grow heavier. The world constantly demands your attention, pushing you toward more, faster, now. But beneath all of this, your inner world has a rhythm that never stopped. It's calm. It's steady. It's patient. It's waiting for you to pause long enough to reconnect with it. When you quiet the noise around you, even for a moment, you begin to realize that the peace you've been searching for is not outside your reach. It's part of who you are. It's built into your design. You don't need to wait for the world to calm down to feel at peace. You don't need every problem solved, every uncertainty answered, every goal achieved. Peace doesn't depend on the absence of storms but on your ability to stand in the center of them without losing yourself. It is the result of choosing to breathe, choosing to center yourself, choosing to trust that you can navigate whatever life sends your way. You carry within you a quiet strength that knows how to hold stillness even in chaos. Peace is not missing from your life. It is present, available, and already yours the moment you stop searching outside and begin listening within. Confidence is a choice before it becomes a feeling. Too many people wait for confidence to appear as if it will suddenly rise within them on its own. They imagine that one day they will wake up braver, stronger, more certain, ready to step into the life they dream about. But confidence rarely arrives that way. It is not a sudden rush of power. It is a decision you make long before you feel ready. Every confident person you admire once started from a place of uncertainty. They didn't act because they felt confident. They became confident because they acted. Confidence is built, not gifted. It grows when you choose to move even while fear whispers that you're not enough, not ready, not capable. You've had moments in your life when you acted without waiting for permission from your feelings. Think back to a time when you stepped into something new, perhaps a new job, a difficult conversation, or a risk that stretched your comfort zone. You didn't feel fully confident then, yet you moved. And because you moved, you grew. You discovered that your fears were louder than your actual limitations. You discovered that you were capable long before you believed you were. That is the essence of confidence, action that leads to belief. Every time you take a step, even a small one, your mind begins to understand that you can trust yourself. You prove to yourself that you can do hard things. You teach yourself that you don't collapse under pressure. In that process, confidence takes root. Most people misunderstand confidence as emotional certainty, but confidence is actually behavioral consistency. It's choosing to show up repeatedly, even when your hands shake. It's deciding to speak even when your voice wavers. It's taking steps forward on days when self-doubt is louder than your ambition. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it is the mastery of fear through motion. When you choose to act despite discomfort, you reclaim power from the narrative that says you must wait for the perfect moment. Confidence grows when you acknowledge fear but refuse to be governed by it. It deepens when you practice discomfort, push your limits, and commit to learning instead of shrinking. Every courageous action you take becomes a brick in the foundation of your self-belief. Over time, that foundation becomes unshakable. Not because you never feel afraid, but because you've learned fear doesn't decide your path. Confidence is already available to you the moment you choose movement over hesitation, courage over comfort, action over waiting. What you seek in life is often what you are already capable of. Many people move through life believing that what they desire most, clarity, courage, purpose, meaning, is somewhere far beyond their reach. They imagine that these qualities belong only to a future version of themselves, a version with more experience, more knowledge, more confidence, and fewer flaws. But the truth is that everything you are searching for already exists within you in seed form. The things you long for aren't foreign to your nature. They're part of your identity that simply hasn't been fully activated yet. You are not missing the qualities you need. You just haven't uncovered them. Every longing you feel is a clue about who you can become. The desire for purpose means you have the capacity for purpose. The desire for courage means courage is already living inside you, waiting for a moment to rise. The desire for clarity means your mind already holds answers. It just needs space to bring them forward. Nothing you seek is beyond your potential. The gap you perceive between who you are and who you want to be is not a canyon, it's a door. And the key to that door is already in your hands. Most people assume that the qualities they seek must come from outside experiences, mentors, or milestones. They think wisdom must come from age, strength must come from survival, and confidence must come from success. But internal qualities do not appear because of external events. They appear because of your willingness to tap into them. You already possess the raw material. Your experiences, your values, your resilience, your intuition. You simply haven't yet shaped these materials into the qualities you admire. Just as a sculptor sees a statue inside a block of stone, your life's experiences contain everything needed to reveal the version of yourself you want to become. You may not always feel capable, but capability is not the same as feeling ready. Capability is built into you. It's shown every time you solve a problem you've never faced before. It's proven every time you adapt to a change you didn't choose. It's demonstrated every time you overcome something you once believed would break you. These moments don't add ability to your life. They reveal what was already there. Growth isn't about creating strengths from nothing. It's about recognizing and awakening what has been dormant inside you all along. When you feel drawn to something greater, it's because that greater version of you is already emerging. What you seek isn't far away. It's calling you from within, urging you to step toward it, trust it, and unlock what has been inside you the entire time. The idea that you don't need more. You simply need to use what you already have is one of the most liberating truths you can embrace. So often, people delay their next step because they believe they are missing something essential. They think they need more time, more money, more experience, more validation, more clarity, or more confidence before they can move forward. But the truth is that progress does not begin when everything is perfect. It begins the moment you recognize that what you have right now is enough to take the next meaningful step. Life doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for willingness. It asks for you to look at what's already in your hands and decide to use it instead of waiting for something else to arrive. Every skill you possess, every lesson you've learned, every challenge you've overcome has equipped you for this moment in ways you may not realize. You may believe you lack resources, but often what you truly lack is recognition. The awareness that your experiences have already given you what many people spend years searching for. You've developed resilience through hardship. You've gained wisdom through mistakes. You've built strength through adversity. You've learned discernment through disappointment. These are not small things. They are tools, and they are already yours. But tools only become powerful when you decide to put them to use. People often underestimate the value of what they already have. They overlook their creativity because it feels natural. They downplay their strengths because they've carried them for so long. They dismiss their knowledge because it doesn't feel extraordinary. But the gifts you take for granted are often the very gifts others wish they had. The experiences you survived without realizing their significance could be the experiences that empower someone else one day. What you consider ordinary may actually be the foundation of something extraordinary. If you choose to activate it, the life you want doesn't require a version of you that doesn't exist. It requires the version of you that is already here. Using what you have means trusting that your abilities are enough to begin. It means believing that your voice, even in its unpolished form, deserves to be heard. It means understanding that your perspective, shaped by your unique journey, holds value. It means accepting that your imperfections are not obstacles. They are part of the tools that make you relatable, grounded, and real. Transformation doesn't happen when you acquire something new. It happens when you start using what you've had all along. The moment you stop waiting for more and begin working with what's already in your hands, you discover that the very things you thought were missing were never missing at all. They were simply waiting for you to notice them, trust them, and put them into action. The life you want begins the moment you stop waiting and start becoming. Too often, people convince themselves that change will happen someday, when circumstances improve, when fear quiets down, when the timing is perfect. But someday is a trap. Someday is how dreams stay dreams. The truth is that every version of the life you desire begins with a single decision: to behave today like the person you imagine yourself becoming tomorrow. You don't transform by wishing, hoping, or planning alone. You transform by embodying the qualities of your future self right now, in small, intentional moments that accumulate into profound change. You already have an image in your mind of who you want to be. Maybe it's someone disciplined, someone peaceful, someone confident, someone focused, someone courageous. That version of you isn't imaginary, it's an invitation. It's your potential showing you what you are capable of. But potential becomes reality only when you choose to act in alignment with it. Becoming isn't about dramatic, overnight shifts, it's about the simple, consistent actions that build the identity you want to grow into. When you choose to wake up earlier, when you choose to speak up, when you choose to stay committed, when you choose to prioritize what matters, you are becoming. When you choose not to let fear make your decisions, you are becoming. When you choose growth over comfort, you are becoming. Every great transformation begins with an internal shift long before an external change appears. You cannot wait for motivation to magically arrive, because motivation grows out of movement. You cannot wait for clarity to suddenly strike, because clarity grows out of action. You cannot wait for confidence to appear on its own, because confidence grows out of doing the things that scare you. Becoming is a process of stepping into the identity you want before you feel fully ready. It's training your mind to follow your intentions instead of your limitations. There is power in deciding that you will no longer live at the mercy of your fears or excuses. The life you want demands your participation. It requires courage, discipline, and the willingness to act even when you don't feel perfect. But it also rewards you with growth, strength, and a deeper sense of purpose. Every time you choose to act like the person you want to become, you close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. You begin to realize that the distance was never as big as you imagined. You weren't waiting for the right moment. You were waiting for yourself. And now, as you take each step forward, you awaken the truth that you've always had the ability to become everything you envisioned.